I moved down to Arkansas from Minnesota, wanting to get away and start a new life for myself. I was living with my grandparents at the time. Never in a million years did I think something like this would ever happen to me. But I'm so grateful for this trial that was placed in my path. This is the story of a survivor. This is my story. It all started in the year 1999. I was involved in a disastrous car accident that almost cost me my life and did eventually cost me a friendship. In what would be a major turning point in my life. That is when the story of my life takes place. Hello, my name is Justin Troutman, also known as the very poetic JT. I am currently living in a one-bedroom apartment with my dog in Fayetteville, Arkansas. My accident happened at the age of 16, and now I'm 28 years old and living the life of a Latter-day Saint. I was just married to a beautiful Colombian girl named Isis. My life took an unexpected turn one gorgeous day in May of '99. It was one of the last days of my freshman year of high school. The year began like any other, and if my memory serves me correct, about Christmas time that year, I started the shortest friendship I would ever have. It was with my friend who would be driving the car in my wreck. His 13-year-old brother would be sitting directly behind me, with his seatbelt securely fastened. I know nobody was at fault. It was just a trio of teenagers wanting to have a little fun on our way home after school. It is very difficult remembering that day, as you would expect, so I will tell you as much as I can remember. We were on our way to my friend's house, quickly reaching a speed of 45. We had attempted to go through an intersection and run a stop sign at the same time. As we entered the intersection on Mount Olive Road and Highway 59 on the outskirts of a small town in the northwest part of the state. The next series of events are a blur to me, but my friend said he asked me if it was clear, and then I said it was. We were flying through the intersection when we were T-boned by a truck going 55. My side was hit, and the impact was so great that it sent our vehicle flipping 5 times, before finally ending upside down on a cement slab, 15 feet away. My friend and the driver of the truck walked away only to suffer some cuts and bruises. It did, sad to say, lead to the death of his younger brother. I would say my friend had suffered much more than me. After using the jaws of life to get me free from the mangled car, I was flown by helicopter to Northwest Medical Center in Springdale, with a 10% chance of survival. Where I had suffered a traumatic brain injury, both of my lungs had been collapsed, and my spleen was ruptured. My pelvis was also broken, my right side was completely shattered. I was then transferred to Arkansas Children's Hospital in Little Rock. I would begin my physical therapy there, still in a comatose state. I don't have any recollection of my time being there. Health South in Fayetteville would be the next stop in my long road to recovery. While at Health South, I had my first taste of what speech therapy would be like. Because the part of my brain that was damaged is the part that controls fine motor skills and speech. I was sent there with the assumption that I would never be waking up. The doctors at Children's Hospital thought that I wouldn't be anything more than a bedridden vegetable for the rest of my life. Sometime in September of that same year, during my time at Health South, one of the night shift nurses came into my room. I was awake watching TRL on MTV. It had to be a miracle. I was beginning to awake from my 3-month-long coma. After After about 2 months of intense and very painful therapy, I wanted to go home to see family and friends, but was sent to Timber Ridge instead, a rehab facility specially trained in treating traumatic brain injuries in Benton, Arkansas. I knew from the beginning that it wasn't the place for me. A couple of months went by, and my progress was at a standstill, so I was rejected by Medicaid. This would prove to be difficult for anyone, let alone someone who was as young as I was. My wish finally came true when I was sent home to see family and friends. That was also the first time since the day of this whole ordeal I had taken up my addiction, which would go until December of 2005, when I had my first encounter with the sister missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My accident, and having to be away from my family for years at a time, was so hard at 17, but I guess it is probably better that it happened when I was that young. My wreck, and all the rehabilitation that followed, happened between the years of May 1999 to February 2003, when I was released from my final rehab facility. In December of 2000, I started attending an outpatient clinic at Another Health South in Rogers, Arkansas. This was during my stay at home when I had my feeding tube removed or pulled out of my stomach, which hurt a little, but the pain didn't last. My last stop in this incredible journey came to an end at Easter Seals Children's Rehabilitation Hospital in Little Rock, where I would make tremendous strides to get where I am today. I was in my wheelchair when I got there, but when I left, I was cruising the streets on my walker. I owe most of my progress at Easter Seals to my physical therapist, Laura Johnson. She showed me that if I knew how to fall, it wasn't going to hurt. That was one of my biggest fears, falling down, because I had grown a good 6 inches in my coma. After Easter Seals, I had my first experience living on my own, in an assisted living community that was also run by Easter Seals in North Little Rock. I went back to high school while I was living on my own to finish up and get my diploma. In 2003, I graduated from Joe T. Robinson, also in North Little Rock. I have my good and not so good days with speech, and though I'll never talk the same, that's okay with me. I took speech therapy at the University of Arkansas for 3 years and decided I would give it a try on my own. I have been writing poems for almost 8 years now, and will continue to write more as inspiration comes to me. I want to be known as a poet that made a difference in people's lives. My inspiration comes from various sources, but I have a very special lady that is my main muse. She would be the love of my life, Isis Karen, who I was married to in the Bogota, Colombia temple in March of this year. When I'm not writing, I enjoy reading, listening to all kinds of music, walking my dog, and going on outings with the church. While I was living on my own in Little Rock, I took 4 trips to Fort Smith, where I went to see a well-known plastic surgeon. I had a total of 5 surgeries on my right hand alone, which were all to help with the reconstruction of the paralysis caused by my brain injury. I have overcome life-threatening odds in my life. My advice to anyone going through a tough time would be this. Just remember the guy who, when the doctors didn't give him any chance to live, he showed them the true definition of a survivor. That no matter what, you should never give up hope. And know that there's sunshine on the other side of the rainbow. I am so grateful for the missionaries that brought me the restored gospel, because now I am where He wants me to be. I have a purpose for my life, as does everybody. I believe it is my faith in Jesus Christ that has really been the change that I needed. I made it through high school and my first semester of college. I do face many trials each day, but do you think Justin has given up? No way, I am almost finished going through a passion of mine. Making others feel good with my hands. I am almost done with massage school. I will graduate sometime later this year from Blue Cliff College, where I will be a licensed massage therapist. We are all faced with trials in this life, some are just more serious than others. The thing you must always remember is that we can either give up and admit defeat, or we can make the best of our situation and accept the hand we were dealt. Having our own success story to tell. Being a survivor of our own story. Thank you.